Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of my Storytime series. For this episode, I'll have some Destiny gameplay for you guys. I will be doing the daily heroic mission, which for today is Entropy's Pinnacle. I will be using a loadout of Nearwind's Mercy, the Iron Banner Pulse Rifle, the Steel Piercer, the Gunsmith Sniper Rifle, and the Raise Lighter, the Solar Exotic Sword. And for an exotic armor piece, I'll be using the Bones of Ao for that extra jump. This first episode is going to be a story. It's actually a pretty incredible story about my dog that has just actually recently passed away. But anyways, so a few years ago, my dog got this giant lump forming on her throat, and it got to about the size of a baseball, and eventually we figured we should probably take her into the vet to see what's going on, because this obviously isn't fixing itself. We honestly thought it was probably some form of cancer. So when we took her into the vet did a test to see if it was a cancerous kind of growth on her throat, and the test came back negative, and it just showed up as a bacterial infection. So the doctor gave us some antibiotics, give Tippy for, I think it was maybe 2 weeks. And so we started giving her the antibiotics. My parents actually went on vacation during this time, so it's just me and my sister taking care of her. And we kept giving them to her. It shrunk a bit, but as soon as we ran out of the antibiotics, it came right back up to that big baseball-sized growth on her throat. And I should mention, Tippy was not like a large dog. She was maybe 1.5 feet tall, maybe 2 feet at the most. But she was not a large dog, nonetheless. So one day, I'm at school and my dad gives me a call. And he just says, come home right after school. We might have to take Tippy to the vet and she might not be coming home. So as soon as I finished class, I think it was like around 5 o'clock, I just rushed home, and I guess my dad came home for lunch, and when he came downstairs, Tippy was lying by the door, kind of like covered in blood. I guess she scratched this growth and pierced it, and just some gross pus and blood came out. And after that, that's when my dad gave me the call. But when I got home, my dad kind of was like laughing a bit, and he's just like, he just basically said to me, "You're not going to believe this." So I guess when my mom got home, she was kind of taking a look at the lump. This is before, or like the pierced lump. This is before I got home. So she's taking a look at it, and she's kind of feeling it, and she's like, "I think there's something hard in there." So she's kind of moving it around towards like the hole that she pierced. And she pulls out this little chicken bone right through my dog's throat. Just comes right out. And I wasn't there to see this, but apparently Tippy just had instant relief on her face. Because just keep in mind, this growth had been there for maybe a month and a half. And she was just dealing with this chicken bone in between her esophagus and the skin on her throat, and it just got infected and kept growing. And when we took her to the vet, after that, we brought the chicken bone in with us, and the vet was blown away. He had never seen anything like it in his life. He couldn't believe that that was what caused the bacterial infection. But yeah, so I guess what happened was, we had a chicken, like a full chicken from the grocery store, one of those cooked ones. We had it for dinner one night, and we just threw the whole carcass in the garbage. And even if the garbage was just slightly open, our dog would, Tippy would kind of push the door open and grab the edge of the bag with her teeth and just pull the bag until it came out, and then most of the time when she did this, garbage just covered the floor. But I guess she got into this chicken carcass and was kind of chewing on it, and she must have just swallowed one of the little chicken bones, and it must have just pierced her esophagus, went right through, and I guess her esophagus must have just healed over top of it, and it allowed this infection to grow in her throat. I swear to God, this dog was pretty incredible. Like, the amount of shit she went through in her life, nonetheless, it was incredible. Like, how she'd survived so much. But, anyways, so thank you for listening to the first episode of my Storytime series. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you thought that was a pretty interesting, if not incredible, story. And I hope you continue listening to my stories that I have to come out in the future. And I thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you for the next one.